As it is the case in the board game of Colonists of Deutschenfeld, the key thing that you're trying to do is build your farmstead, and these farmsteads or farmyards were lined up along each side of the streets in these colonies. And I just wanted to briefly go over what the pieces of these farmsteads were like. I want to first of all say that this artwork that was developed for the board game and then for these cards was done by Laird Salkeld, who went to considerable lengths to come up with something that looked as historically as accurate as possible. And he did everything from shooting models through to toys to using his gifts and abilities on design programs and illustration programs to build what these farmsteads look like. I also want to point out that each of these descriptions of the pieces of the farmstead are written in English and German. The farmstead was the Hof, and so that's the name of this long and narrow farmyard. And it's cut off a little bit on this side. There would have been a orchard or Obstgarten that went out even further than what we show on here. So let's just start from the front. These farmyards or farmsteads faced onto the street with these stone walls, and they had a gate. And oftentimes people would sit out here and visit with others as they walked down the main street of the colony. You had this gate here that closed things off for each farmyard. The large house here had initially in the early 1800s, when what this game tries to represent, had dirt walls that were whitewashed, and later they were replaced with stone walls. They had thatched roofs. Many of them had these ostriches or storks rather, storks that set up their nests on top of the houses. So the house was here. They had a summer kitchen, which was used in the summer for the cooking to keep some of the heat out of the main kitchen and also separate the possibility of fire spreading when this summer kitchen was used a lot in the warmer part of the months. There was a Keller here, that's the German word for cellar, where preserves and wine and that sort of things, fresh vegetables, were kept underground. There was a well, a Brunnen, that had these long handles on them. These are called step wells, and those are represented here in our illustration. The barn, or Scheune, was attached to the main house, which is very typical for houses in Germany, for the people came to this part of the world near the Black Sea, on the steppes of Russia. So the barn was there. Usually there was perhaps a pig area. There was an area where corn was kept to dry out, and that was called a Maiskasten. Then you had a wine and chaff shed kept back here, and then you had a threshing place, or a Dreschplatz, where the grain would be cut from the fields and brought in, and then these horses would go around on top of this laid out grain. And in this particular picture we don't see it, but I think in some of the others there's actually a large stone wheel with sharp edges. If you looked at it from the side, it would be like a star that would break up this grain. It would be thrown in the air, and the chaff would blow off in the wind, and then the grain would be left behind. And then you had these large straw piles that were created from that. And then, of course, the Obstgarten, or the orchard, would be behind here. So each one of these farmsteads looks a little bit different because it was designed that way, to be a little bit different, but I'm not sure that we carried that over into the actual card game. On the board game, things vary quite a bit different. We have people walking around doing different things, and so yeah, that was carried through here. So yeah, I hope that that helps you learn some new words and share them with your families as you play this game. I want to point out too that these setback and progress cards, so we can find some here, also have some German things that have been translated. That one's not quite what I wanted to show you. So let me see if I can find one over here. Yes. So all of these, for example, the locust infestation card for setback card, the locust is described here in German, is presented in German, the Heuschrecke. And here is a big grape harvest, and that's Traube. So all of this has been translated also in German, so that yeah, it just adds a little linguistic interest to the game, and you can be reminded that our ancestors in Russia, our German colonists there, spoke their own German language.